Welcome to the So You Want to Be a Data Scientist podcast. Here we interview awesome data scientists and other data professionals. This show is part of the website soyouwannabeadatascientist.com. After listening, take my free data science Kickstarter course to learn what it takes to become a data scientist. In the meantime, enjoy the episode. Hi everyone, welcome to the So You Want to Be a Data Scientist podcast. Today I have Nikola Valešová and Petr Míchal with me. They are data scientists at DataSentics and they will share their knowledge with us and all their experience. So welcome guys.
Hi Misra, and thank you very much for having us.
Hi, thank you for the invitation.
Of course, thank you for being here. So before we go any further, I would like to know what your company does. Can you tell us a little bit about DataSentics?
Sure. We are a machine learning and cloud data engineering boutique. So that means that we create solutions tailored for our customers to help them use their data to bring a real impact and really help them. We try to come up with creative and useful use cases that end up bringing a real change for our customers by either saving their time or their money.
Yeah, exactly. As Nikolas said, we try to prove that the data are useful and show the customers how the data can be utilized. And we try to show their real value, because that's something that the customers really sometimes don't have. So we try to achieve this. We have a diverse portfolio of projects, for example, fraud detection, NLP, computer vision applications, and so on. Also, we are developing our own products, for example, AdPicker, which is a tool for digital marketing, or Shelf Inspector, which is a computer vision-based product about optimization in retail, or Job Number One, which is a tool for improving the HR processes. And one, I think, important point which we can say is that we try to demystify the hype about machine learning and data science. We try to create interpretable models and not just black boxes.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So, you don't only offer solutions to companies, but you, as far as I understood, you also work with them to see what kind of data science solutions that you can bring to them, kind of work with them to understand their data and also bring some knowledge to their company. And then can we call you guys consultants?
Yeah, exactly. I think you get the message perfectly. And what we are trying to do is to help our customers also understand their data and what they can achieve with their data and with the utilizing. So we don't want to be a black box company that comes to you and sells you this solution that nobody understands and nobody can reuse or alternate, but we really try to show them the solution and explain what it does and how it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty nice. And so this is more of a personal question, so I would expect you guys to answer separately. How did you end up where you are? Can you tell us a little bit of your journey? How did you end up as a data scientist?
So my journey is a bit unusual, at least for a data scientist in DataCentix.
The more unusual, the better.
Perfect. I studied computer science, and for quite a long time, I didn't know what I wanted to specialize in. When I was in the third year of my bachelor studies, I started a part-time job as a software engineer for Red Hat. And I really loved the job. I liked coding in Python and I liked back-end development. But after some time, I realized that in a long term, I wanted to do something more scientific, let's say, and challenging. So I decided to quit my job at Red Hat and I started a new part-time job in Thermo Fisher Scientific. And there I was very lucky that my former manager gave me a task on image super resolution with the use of neural networks. And I got really passionate about it. I learned a lot along the process and around the solution. And that's why that's where I finally started to put my pieces together and to see where I wanted to be in my future career. And another step towards my data science career appeared when I was searching for a topic for my master thesis. And I came across an article about our postdoc student who was doing some research around bacteria and their classification. And I thought that was really interesting, so I contacted him, and thanks to him, I got a master thesis topic regarding classification of bacteria according to their 16S rRNA sequences. So that maybe sounds a bit complicated, but it was just a string of characters and a tree of classifiers. So a perfect AI application. And after I finished my studies, I was trying to find my first full-time job. And I was again lucky to meet my current colleague who told me about DataSentics. And what got me interested in DataSentics was the portfolio of people working for it and their backgrounds and their diverse knowledge. And I knew that I wanted to be a part of such company.
That's very cool. And what did you study for your master's?
It was computer science, just general, but focused on intelligent systems.
I see. So basically, that's how you got your data science knowledge in a way.
Yes, also.
So, but you didn't study out of that on online courses, etc.
I didn't do many online courses, but I did one crash course by Google, and basically I learned by doing, sort of.
I understand. Yeah, I think that that's one of the best ways to learn, anyways. And Peter, what about you? What is your journey?
Yeah, my journey is slightly different maybe because I'm still studying. I'm finishing my master studies right now. And well, I studied statistics because I always loved math and such things. And then I realized that I want to do math and also some real world applications. And I thought it's the statistics is the right subject for me. And partly I was right, I think, because after a few years of school, I also was looking for some part-time job, and I met Datacentix on career days at our university, which was an event where few companies were displaying and showing had their stands, and I met there cool people from Datacentix, and well, the company was really cool, and I work here now. And what I like about data science, maybe why I chose it, is because it's partly the math I like to do, but also it brings me the contact with people and the solution to their problems. It's just not doing theory at school. It's something which really has the impact, which was maybe the right reason why I chose data science.
Yeah, that's a great reason. And so I feel like you guys have some serious motivation to have chosen data science. So it didn't just happen to you, but both of you have consciously chose a data science career, which is really good to see. So now I want to go a little bit more into the depths of what you do every day, because that's one of the things that our audience is really curious about. Can you tell me a little bit about what you do on a normal weekday as a data scientist at DataCentix? What are some typical tasks that you work on?
I personally like to start the day with a quick update. So I check the email and new messages on Slack. I also like to start the day with the most important thing in the morning, and that's coffee. And of course, I check that no errors occurred in the production pipelines, and if they have, then I immediately try to solve them. And that's the top priority in the morning. And apart from that, I try to plan meetings in the afternoon, and I try to code in the morning because I am more tired in the afternoons, and also more people are active in the afternoons. So I get more Slack notifications, and the morning is more calm, and I really get to focus on the tasks and on the implementation.
Yeah, exactly. Nikola told it really nice way. maybe one point I also have in common that sometimes you really have some tasks to do that day, but then some unexpected issues and problems occurs, and you have to solve them or help colleagues with some problem you solved earlier. So it's like the plan you wanted to do, and then the reality you have to do. So sometimes quite complicated to manage these two lists. But at the end of each day, I try also to check what tasks I have planned for myself the day and what I really did and what I will be doing next day.
I see. So, Nikola, you specifically mentioned that you are also doing some maintenance on the models that you prepared before. And are you also part of the development of new models?
Yes, in Datacentix, it's not focused on, or the work is not divided into model creation and model maintenance, but it's more of divided into the projects itself, like the small projects on each client. So, for example, I am responsible for a project called cookieless targeting, and that means that I am the owner of the solution, and I created the model, and I make sure that it's running okay, and I'm responsible for new enhancements and new adjustments.
I see. So basically, as you said, you own you own a project, and you are the responsible person, and you basically work on anything that concerns that project. If I
Yeah,
got that right.
exactly.
Okay. And yeah, we talked about some of the technical things that you guys are doing, but what about the more people facing things? Do you go and talk to clients? Do you have a lot of meetings, or how much time does that take in your day?
I would say, on average, it takes around 10 to 20% the people facing part of our job, and it's very different for every project, and also it depends on the cooperation setting we have with the customer. But in every project we see the customers face to face, and we try to be there for them in any case and in any moment.
Yes. Also, I would add that it depends on the stage of the project because, for example, at the beginning of the project, we have meetings with the customer more often to be sure that we are interpreting both the purpose of the project in a similar way to prevent some miscommunications or wrong targets. So it's one thing, and also when we finish our work and it's time to deliver the solution to them, so we can have meetings more often, including some workshops or writing manuals or so on.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Of course, the more you go into the project, the more hands-on the work becomes. And what about the teams that you work in? So we got that now you are specifically responsible for certain projects, but what is typically the working arrangement? Are you mostly alone working, or do you have a team of people working with you or under you? How does the structure work?
We work in a very interesting setting, I think, and it's different on every project. Some projects have only 2 people in them, and some projects are for 10, maybe even 15 people. So the positions are also varied, and in Datacentix, somebody can be a data scientist in one project and work as a data engineer in another project. So you can really choose what interests you. And in Aspiker, in the product that I work in, we are a team of 10 people, and we are divided into we work like small individual entrepreneurs. So we have our own solutions, and we have weekly meetings to give update and to make sure that to assure reusability, so that no 2 people code the same piece of code twice.
That makes sense. And it's also nice that you can take different roles so that you will have the chance to work on your different skills. If you're a data scientist and you want to go into a more data engineering sort of role, then you have the chance to work on that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. And also regarding your seniority, so you can be a senior data scientist, but a junior data engineer, and it's still perfectly fine.
So that's nice. And can you give us now a couple of examples of the projects you've done, if it's not very confidential?
For me, it's mostly AdPicker, which is our product, and it's focused on the optimization of online advertising, but it ranges really, it has a wide usage. But the parts that I have been working on are focused on ad targeting and ad quality. So the outcome is that you spend your budget on advertising optimally. And another project that is quite interesting that I have worked on is churn prediction solution for a mobile game studio. And there was the goal to predict how likely the players are to quit the game. So that was quite interesting. And also part of that solution was to play the game actually. So
Nice.
that was really fun.
I have a little bit different projects. I work currently. I'm working on a Shelf Inspector, which is a computer vision project where we try to optimize the visits and refilling of the products in stores. And it consists of the mobile app, which is used for sending us the photos from the store, and we analyze them, and then we have reports when we report the planogram results from comparing the reality with the prescribed order, then some shelf shares, and also we scan prices and match them with the products. So this is one project. Another one, not computer vision based, was, for example, a location intelligence project for one company owning restaurants and pubs and breweries, where we try to optimize the restaurant and pubs in a spatial context, and we use some free data, for example, OpenStreetMap data, demography, and also their internal data. But it was something different for me because the data were a little bit different, not just tables or images, but it was tables, but containing coordinates and so on. You have to work with polygons and different visualizations. It was quite interesting for me.
Nice. It sounds like you guys have worked on interesting and actually different projects, very different projects. And it sounds like, as you said in the beginning, the company has a very good portfolio of different types of projects.
Yeah, it is. It's really like it sounds, and usually we have some one, let's say, expert for the given topic. For example, Nikola and targeting, or someone in the computer vision, so they can share their knowledge and to make it easier for them.
Yeah, so I think that's a very good setting. Okay, so one other thing that I want to know is how do you typically deliver at the end of a project? I know it differs a lot from project to project, but it is a big unknown for an aspiring data scientist, like what a data scientist delivers. Because, if you were a I don't know, strategy consultant, maybe you deliver a PowerPoint or a document or a report. Or I don't know, if you are a software engineer, you would deliver an app. But what do you deliver as a data scientist? What are some types of deliverables that you worked on?
We have two major types of our outcomes. One is a production pipeline that is automatically executed every day and uploads the output from a prediction model into production. So that is the case in some of our projects. And apart from that, the other way that we deliver is directly the output of the model, which can be in the form of a whitelist. For example, in AdPicker, we have a whitelist of domains and their bid multipliers, which could be translated as the affinity or the correlation between each domain and our target, or a score of the domain and the quality of the domain. So that we can use the bit multiplier to adjust how much money we want to spend on the domain.
Okay, that's interesting. That's the first time I hear of that format, actually.
Yeah, it's very very specific. This entire edge online space is quite specific, and there are many terms and many abbreviations that you need to get familiar with. So that was quite challenging at first.
Yeah, definitely. And what about you, Peter? Have you worked on any other types of deliverables?
I think that Nikola say them all. It is either the learning pipeline and the updates. For example, in Shelf Inspector, we are processing the new images we receive, or well, it was always for me the learning pipeline in production.
Mm-hmm. And then after you guys deliver the production pipeline, you still provide maintenance.
Yeah, sure. It's also a part of our work to make sure that the pipeline is running correctly, and well, in case that it isn't, we ensure that we correct it and it's back up and running.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the technologies that you're using. Now, can you tell me a bit about the tools, the programming languages, or programming platforms that you use? What are the typical ones that you use often?
Again, it depends on the project you are working on. For example, if you are working with some really big data, we are using PySpark, and as Nikola said, we are a cloud company, so we use mostly Microsoft Azure and Databricks, where we execute the PySpark. On the other hand, for example, in Shelf Inspector, we work with images, and it's slightly different. We use Python and TensorFlow and so on. But I think that in most projects, the frameworks are the same. For example, we try to use, we don't try, we use MLflow or Azure ML for maintaining models and deploying them. And for the communication, for example, between our colleagues and sometimes even customers, we use Slack. And from the other point of view, for the versioning of the code, we use Git and GitHub, GitLab, so on.
Mm-hmm. And does it change based on client to client what technologies you're using? Are there like clients who want you to use R, for example?
Yeah, it's true. Sometimes we use R when the client has some is R based, if we can say this, or sometimes the cloud, because as I said, we mainly use Microsoft Azure, but some clients are running or on the Amazon or maybe Google Cloud. So we try to be able to work on with as many as possible languages and clouds.
Yeah, because that's also one of the points that I'm trying to get across. It really the technology itself doesn't matter. I think as a data scientist, one of the most important things, or one of the most important skills that we should have, is the ability to learn something new when you need to, because every project has its own different requirements at the end of the day.
Yeah, I also think that it's so growing so fast, this field, because PySpark was introduced only a few years ago, if I'm right. And I think it's a perfect way of a combination of Python and SQL. And well, we'll see what we are coding in the 5 years or something.
Yeah, exactly. So there is also this other understanding I see online, about how a data scientist divides his or her time between tasks. So, for example, one thing that people say is that more than 50% of their time is spent on data preparation and data cleaning, which I also agree. That's also, in my experience, true. But what about you guys? Is that correct for you? Or how do you, if that's not true, how do you separate your tasks time wise?
Mm-hmm. I think it depends on the project and the data you receive, really, because sometimes there is a lot of cleaning needed for data, and sometimes they are also clear, for example, from previous real work on projects or company. So it really depends, I think. But maybe the common point for me just is the cooperation between multiple projects, because at Datacentix almost everyone is assigned to more projects. So this is quite something. Sometimes it's quite difficult to cope with with more projects. And for example, which works for me, I every day I try to make a list of tasks or problems I want to solve, and then I try to estimate the time needed for solving them, and then I choose the most urgent ones, and for the rest I left it for the another day.
I see. Yeah, that sounds like a good way of doing it. Yeah. Okay. Anything you want to add there, Nikola? Or
Maybe regarding the data pre-processing, I haven't encountered a project that would require 50% of the time to be dedicated to data pre-processing. And in AdPicker, we have quite an advantage that all the solutions are based around the same data. So basically, we have created the tiny little pipeline for data pre-processing, and we all use that one for our solutions. So basically, if I want to start a new solution, I just use this template pipeline, and I have the data cleaned, and I can start with feature engineering and building my models.
then, if that's not taking you a lot of time, what is the task or part of the project that takes the most time? Is it the modeling, training the model, tuning the model?
That's an interesting question. And I think it's really diverse and it's really different from day to day. Sometimes it's communication with the client and preparing presentations with our outcomes, mostly at the end of a project. We want to really see how it performed and why it performed this way, what could be improved in the next iteration, and so on. So maybe this is the most time-consuming part of my job, really to interpret the model and to see its drawbacks and pros.
Yeah, I understand that definitely. I feel like that's one of the most important um, responsibilities of a data scientist is to communicate what you have done, because we're such experts in one area. It's very easy to assume that other people will understand what's happening, but I think it's very important to make sure that you convey your message and you actually tell people what's working, what's not working, and what are the results that we can draw from this project at the end.
Yes, exactly. And it's even harder to communicate it with people with different backgrounds and different knowledge.
Definitely.
So I never know how into detail I should go, and that's a challenge.
Yeah, exactly. That's something we learn more and more with experience, I think. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how you like your job. What has been the most exciting thing for you guys about your jobs?
I really like that my work is almost immediately put into use and actually helps someone. That's, I think, really a pleasant change. Having coming from the university, where even your master thesis doesn't get used, or most of your projects are just marked with some points and you never get back to it. I also like that there is so much to learn and you can always get better. And the more you know, the more you realize how much better you should get.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it really matches my personality, and that I see how much I can grow. And what is also a part of what I like about this job is that there are so many communities and meetups around machine learning, and there's a huge community of connected people that really support each other and are willing to share their experience. And I think that's quite unique.
Maybe I would. What's most exciting for me also, of course, the points Nikolas said, they are totally true. And maybe next, what I found exciting is that data science is really, how to say, diverse. You can specialize on many things. For example, NLP, computer vision, classification in general, and so on. So, and then for each of them, there are so many algorithms, models, and approaches that you can explore. I think it's never-ending journey. So it's it's the most exciting thing for me. But also, which I really like, it's the way we try to utilize the data in a how to say it, in a new way. For example, the public data from OpenStreetMaps, we use them in our location intelligence project, and it was quite nice to see how they can be utilized many ways, and many they can bring the profit to many projects.
Nice. Okay, so but what about the part that you find the most boring or annoying, or something that if you never did again, you will never miss?
From my side, it's definitely waiting for a cluster to start.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe one for me, I really don't like explaining what I do to people who don't know much about IT and data. For example, grandparents or some other people. It's really difficult to explain what I do.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely feel that too. I feel like if you were a software engineer, for example, people kind of know about that more now than maybe like 10 years ago. So even that would be easier to explain. But when you're a data scientist, it's like so like in a gray area. It's very hard to understand. So what I do is mostly just give them some examples.
Yeah, exactly. Examples of projects, or I'm telling I work on IT or I'm a programmer, and they're fine.
Yeah. Okay, so this question is for Nikolas specifically. I'm sorry, Peter. How is it like being a woman in this technological area? Do you encounter any bias at your work?
Luckily, I have never had a really bad experience. And in DataCentix, there are quite a lot of women, roughly 30 to 40%, which is a lot more than I have been used to. And I feel really lucky to work in such environment because I think that we really see each colleague for who they are and as a colleague, and we don't put any labels. So I really feel like there is no bias at all. In my previous jobs and at the university, women were really a minority. There were around 5% of girls at the university, and in Red Hat, I even happened to be the only woman on the entire floor. So that was really strange. Well, what I could say is that it really makes you stand out, and whether it's a bad or a good thing. So on one hand, the teachers are more likely to remember your name, or the other hand, they'll probably notice when you skip a lecture.
Yeah. Definitely has its pros and cons. But that's something I've heard before. I feel like when you're a woman also in business life, people tend to it's not a good thing that they don't expect that much from you, but they tend to get impressed by what you do much more easily. Which, yeah, as you said, it's kind of good, but also kind of bad.
Yeah, I think that too. That maybe sometimes I feel that the people expression when I show them my code or what I've done, that they expect it somewhat less from me, or
Hmm.
they are like happily surprised.
Hmm. Yeah.
But I think it makes us women really strive to be better, not just for ourselves, but deep inside, I think that we also want to prove others our worth and that we can be as good as any other colleagues.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. And also, for the sake of equality, Peter, have you ever also encountered any bias or any negative, I don't know, behavior towards yourself?
Luckily, not yet. Really, I think our the people in our company are really cool people, and I think it's not in place here.
That's great because I feel like technology careers can get really competitive. Okay, so my last question to you guys is if you have any advice for someone who wants to become a data scientist in the future, what would be the one piece of advice that you would give to that person?
hmm Well, maybe the main point from me is that you have to try to be passionate about it, because when you like it, it will make the process of learning and growing a lot easier. Because well, data science in the general, it's not super easy, but on the other hand, it's not some rocket science, but it really takes some time, and you have to be prepared to invest it to learning and growing continually. So it's one thing, and the other maybe about the theory, because I often heard the difference of school and real world. and so on. So I think that don't skip the theory really, because it's needed. On the other hand, you have to support it with practice. You have to teach and learn some methods and then apply them, code them, and really see how they work.
Great advice.
I really like what Peter said about passion. And I think that's a really important aspect in anything that you want to do in life. And I would suggest, if you're struggling to find passion for it, try to look at data science from various angles. So maybe you are not passionate about data science, but what about data engineering? Or maybe you would be interested in some application, such as in biomedicine or specifically object detection in images. It's so broad and diverse, and I think it's great to find your passion even within data science. I think it also helps to keep eyes open for events, for meetups and conferences. It's always helpful to meet new people that have more experience and get information and enthusiasm from them. Now, also due to the COVID pandemic, many events are moved online, and some of them are also now for free. So it's even easier to attend. And the last point from me would be, don't be afraid to reach out. If you have any questions or if you get stuck on some problem, people are usually happy to help, and we've all been there on your place. So if you come with a particular question or issue you've been struggling with, people will be always happy to help you. And you can even reach out to us. We'll be happy to help. And if your question or topic could be interesting for a broader audience, we could write a post on our blog about it, because we have just released our blog on Medium. So we'll be happy to write an article for you.
Nice. That's great. And that's also great advice. Thanks a lot. Yeah, that was all of my question, guys. And this was a very fun conversation. Thanks a lot for being here. I always really love hearing a new perspective on the data science career and the data scene. So thanks again for being here.
Thank you very much for your invitation, and I hope you guys liked listening to it.
Thank you, and don't worry, and try and practice.
Hey, thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to take my free data science Kickstarter course to learn what it takes to become a data scientist. See you next time.